Brady Quinn, who joins us. Brady, how many of those classes did you have at Notre Dame?
Dan, I'm standing 6'4", 230 pounds today after a bowl of Lucky Charms. And, I'm going to be honest with you. I looked at that article, I read it, and I thought to myself, I wish that would have been me, because I took a couple courses for a political science class. One was politics of tropical Africa, and the other one was like race and religion in South Africa. And we had this professor who was from South Africa. I couldn't understand a word he said. It was an entire lecture for an hour and a half. Nothing was in chronological order. I think I got a C at best in both those courses. I had them for both, and it was miserable.
Did you take a class in Rudy, the movie Rudy at Notre Dame?
I don't think they offered that. If they did, though, it probably would have been a little bit of a tearjerker, and I think I would have done well. Although I still can't. I mean, I could name most of the cast, but besides that, I haven't seen the movie in a while.
Yeah, but unlike Joe Montana, you do believe that Rudy was true, that was an actual person. It did really happen.
Oh, I've met Rudy. Yeah, that guy's off his rocker. I think he definitely took too many hits to the head. Someone needs to do something about him for brain injuries, because he didn't play in the NFL. But
would he pass? Would he pass a concussion test?
No chance. I mean, here's the thing: is no one's made more money off of one play in college football or any play in college football than Rudy.
But was this one of those Michael Strahan, Brett Favre type sacks? So you can get the record. Did they give him a sack? Did Georgia Tech let him get a sack so they could make a movie about him?
I don't think the guy saw him. I think he was so small he snuck up and just kind of took the guy's legs out.
He's Brady Quinn, former Notre Dame quarterback, now working for Fox Sports, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. I saw where you were dissecting the controversial play at the end of the Notre Dame-Florida State game. And I originally, I initially thought, I go, well, of course Brady's going to side with the Fighting Irish. But you were pointing out some valid points, valid reasons here why, if you're going to let that happen in the first half, a play similar, then why wouldn't you let it happen at the end of the game? So explain what you saw with that play that was not ruled a touchdown.
Well, it goes back to the first touchdown of the game for Notre Dame. They ran a similar play from a widened formation, and from the ruling, from what I understand, it was not called offensive pass interference because the ball was caught at the line of scrimmage. But really, in either instance, even the last play that got called back, neither wide receiver was trying to block. It looks like that because both Florida State defensive backs engaged them. So when you're down in the red zone that close to the goal line, it's kind of tight space. So when you're a wide receiver, if you get jammed, you got to use your arms to try to push them off and get to your spot. And it looked like, to me, Procise, number 20, was getting pulled down at the end. And then Fuller kind of shook his guy off the line, and the guy kind of stumbled and tried to redirect, just grabbed him. So in both cases, I think it kind of all happened so fast that, the ref that was right there at the goal line, he was not even the one that made the call. It was a guy who was like in the back of the end zone, almost on the other side of the field, and threw the flag. And this is the same guy at the end of the game who called that an interception when the guy caught it 2 yards out of bounds. It was kind of bad officiating altogether, and it seemed inconsistent. And I personally feel like Florida State got rewarded for bad defense. They should have zoned off that bunch, and the outside guy could have just came up and taken the guy in the flat, which would have forced Everett Golson to progress throughout the rest of the routes in the progression.
Well,
but it forced. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They could have scored the touchdown without even. You're taught as a receiver, if you go out and somebody engages, put your hands up to say, look, I'm not doing anything there. They've got a hold of me. Notre Dame didn't do that.
Dan, here's the issue. If they do that and the first guy in the progression is not open, well, guess what? Someone's got to get open, and you can't rely on the refs to make a call. So you still got to fight for it, especially at the end of the game.
Yeah, but Robinson would have still gotten open, though, Brady. They couldn't cover him all night.
Yeah, because hindsight's 20/20. We're assuming that in hindsight now when we look back. But the wide receiver's not. When he's running his route, he doesn't know whether that guy's getting open or not. He's focused on what he's doing.
Well, no, but if they're holding on to you, if you know it's a pick play, and your job is to be in that pick to run interference, you don't want to be called for being the one who's going to pick somebody. So you raise your hands up. Therefore, you're not involved in the play. So this is it's.
Well, but the issue with doing that is, I think it actually draws more attention to you as well, trying to get in the way of the defender and doing that. And to me, that play happened so fast. Prosise was being pressed off the line. There was no way he could have put his hands up because he would have to do that the second the ball was snapped and the guy jump jammed him at the line of scrimmage. Fuller is still trying to run into his route, and he kind of just ran into the guy. You could make a case that he could have put his hands up, but again, he's going to run this back end line return route, whereas if Robinson's not there, he's going to be open. So he still needs to kind of finish his route to give the quarterback an opportunity for someone else.
He's Brady Quinn yelling at me. He works for Fox Sports, joining us in the Dan Patrick Show. Do you have your Miami Dolphin jersey when you tried out for them?
No, I don't think I even got a jersey from that. I wouldn't want one either. I didn't feel a part of the team or anything.
No, but I wanted it for the man cave.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me contact some people down. I'll make some phone calls, see what I can do, Dan.
But
hey, Dan, you know what I'd like to talk about is I was listening to you when you talked about Russell Wilson in the article that the guy wrote saying he wasn't black enough in the locker room there for his teammates or whatever they said. And it's interesting to me because now I know why I got cut from Seattle. Because if Russell isn't, then I'm definitely not black enough when I was out there for the entire offseason. So now I have concrete evidence why I got released.
So that is why you got cut from Seattle.
Yeah,
wow.
I guess. I
Wow.
mean, if that's the reason why, if there's something wrong with Russell Wilson and that's it, then I'm definitely not a good fit for Seattle.
Wow. That is headline making. I was going to ask you.
It's unbelievable. I mean, there couldn't be a better role model, a better person to have as your quarterback on a team. And I've never seen race or religion or anything like that play a factor in the locker room as far as how guys got along. I mean, maybe things are changing, but and especially when I was there, I never saw that as the case with Seattle. I mean, everyone got along. That was one of the most tight-knit group teams that I've ever been around. And Percy was new to the Seahawks just as I was, so maybe he was a little more quiet, and I wasn't there last season to see all of what had taken place, but he didn't seem to have any issues when I was there. Everyone was excited to have him, and he was an incredible player. With a few times he came out to practice, was able to practice because he was rehabbing that hip injury.
Would you draft Jameis Winston on just football ability? Let's take off the field. Would you draft him on just what you see? How high would you draft Jameis Winston on football ability?
I mean, he's a first-round pick when you look at what he's done. I mean, he was 15 for 16 in that second half of that game, which is a big game, and he really had to come around clutch because they weren't able to run the ball, so it was all on his shoulders. And look, the guy's won a national championship, a Heisman Trophy. I mean, athletic ability alone, he's got all the tools and the intangibles, and he seems to, go through his reads and progressions quite well for a guy who's, relatively a little bit inexperienced per se. It's not like he's played a ton of football. But, yeah, I think I drafted him in the first round, second round. I mean, he might drop to second, third because of these character issues. But he's definitely a talent on the field.
Does it bum you out, though, that you could have had a Super Bowl ring? Because you got cut right before the season started in Seattle, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it does to some degree. But, then I ended up signing with the Jets. And then I signed halfway through the season with the Rams. So we played Seattle twice. I mean, I finished the season on IR. I hurt my back. And all that. But, no, I mean, it was a bummer because I had such a great time out there with that group of guys. Pete Carroll's a ton of fun as a coach to play for. So, which is a little bit shocking, I'm sure, for people to hear because I played against him for so long in college. He was kind of like that nemesis. But I really enjoyed him. I thought he was hilarious, and he kept things fun and really brought out the kind of fun side of playing football.
Can you name your 4 career wins?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, let me hear it.
Monday Night Football, we beat the Bills.
Yeah.
Thursday Night Football, we beat Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
We beat the Kansas City Chiefs the following week out in Arrowhead, and then we beat the Carolina Panthers after the old Javon Belcher tragedy.
Look at you.
Well, it's not hard, Dan.
I know. The only reason why I bring it up is because you have a sense of humor.
Yeah. I mean,
wait, you do have a sense of humor. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure.
You've got to, especially when you play for the Browns. It can be tough. I mean, you got to find some things to laugh at from time to time.
How tough was it though with that environment in Cleveland?
I think it was tough for me more because it meant so much. I mean, I grew up.
You're being an Ohio guy.
an Ohio guy idolizing Bernie Kosar and all that. So it meant so much to me because it truly was like a dream come true to play for the team that you grew up rooting for, going to see games when you're little. And we needed so many more pieces around us. I think Cleveland's in such a better place now with all the pieces they have around them. Their offensive line's a little more solidified. They're hurt right now because they lost Mack at center, which is a huge loss.
Big loss.
But they've got a ton of talent, and I love Mike Pettin as a coach, Kyle Shanahan as an offensive coordinator. I really felt like when we got drafted there with Phil Savage, Romeo Crennel, and Rob Chudzinski as our offensive coordinator, I thought we really had something. We went 10-6 in our rookie year, missed the playoffs, and then the next year we had like 15 guys on IR. We go 4-12, and everyone gets fired, and then it's kind of you're back to the starting point again with a new coach, new GM, all that, and they start bringing in an entirely new team, and it's just hard to continually start over. At some point, you got to kind of work with what you have and play to their team's strengths. I think that's what makes a good coach.
Before I let you go, if that play in Tallahassee had been in South Bend, ...
It still would have been probably called because here's the issue. Notre Dame is an independent team, so it's always the away team's refs to come officiate the game. And this is the same guy, I think, who threw out Stephen Tuitt, their big defensive end from last year, I think in the Pitt game or something like that, for a bogus call. I mean, we always get bogus calls against them. I mean, look at the Bush push. I mean, that was the Pac-12 crew.
Did you ever bring that up to Pete Carroll, Brady, about the Bush push with Matt Leinart?
No, I've told Matt every time. If I was in the same position, I would have cheated too. I would have told Darius Locke to push me in, man. I mean,
you're not bitter.
Cheating, you're not trying.
You're not bitter, right?
Well, I mean, a little bit, but I was more bitter about the fact that, again, it goes back to officiating. Matt Leinart fumbled the ball out of bounds.
I know that.
Yeah. There never should have been the Bush push. So that was more what was the bitterness from all of it.
Is there a current NFL quarterback that could outbench you?
Probably now. I really don't bench too often anymore. I kind of got tapped as a meathead. So after that happened, I kind of had to cut that out a little bit.
Can you outbench your brother-in-law, A.J. Hawk?
100%. Right now, I can promise you I can.
Could you play linebacker better than A.J. Hawk?
There is no chance of that.
Oh, okay.
He to me, is one of the most underrated linebackers in all the NFL. That guy never gets enough credit.
Oh, come on. You're related to him. You're related.
It doesn't matter. He's the all-time leading tackler in the Green Bay Packers history. You can't tell me that doesn't mean something.
Did he ever tackle you?
Of course. In the bowl games. I don't know if he ever did when we played. We played a couple times in preseason, and regular season I never had the chance to start against him. But in the bowl game, in the Fiesta Bowl, he tackled me a couple times.
Did he say anything to you?
No, they were more like a big hug. It was more like a big bear hug.
Oh, that's nice.
It wasn't anything too rough.
So sweet. Always great to talk to you, man. Thank you, Brady.
Thanks as always, Dan.
All right, that's Brady Quinn, Fox Sports, former Notre Dame quarterback.